Hi everyone, so it's Amanda from Taylor Transformations, and I have a wonderful guest with me today who's going to tell us all about herself and her amazing business. So I will hand over to you if you want to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about what you do.
Hello, so I'm Chantal and I'm a nervous system mentor. So I help you to um, feel calm and connected by teaching you ways to regulate your nervous system.
Fantastic, that sounds really, really interesting. So, how did you get into what it is that you're doing today?
So, bit of a long story, I guess, but I used to be a primary school teacher and then I stopped to have my four boys. And after having my first son, I dipped like with my mental health, I guess, and it sort of went up and down throughout all of my children. And I remember at some points I was struggling to sort of stay present. I was just always in my head. Um, but through a long sort of process, I sort of would push myself to go outside because I knew obviously that was good for me, and that sort of helped me to come out the other way, at the other end as such. And then at that point, I trained to become a trauma informed practitioner, thinking
Wow.
that I would use it when I went back into teaching. However,
Yeah,
I decided not to go back into teaching, but I was absolutely fascinated about all that we were taught on the course and about learning about regulating your nervous system. And through that, I realized that what I was doing in the past, that trying to get outside and doing certain things, was basically me, without me realizing, regulating my nervous system to get me to be more present with my children. And I just found, that journey really, really interesting. And now I'm training to be a psychotherapist. I'm near the end of that sort of training. So
amazing.
again, that just learning about us and about regulating our nervous system. And I just think it's just so needed. And yeah, really, really passionate
Absolutely.
about it.
You can tell it comes across. I mean, it's such an interesting thing as well. I mean, trauma, people don't realize how much it affects you. And
Mm,
what is trauma? Do you know what I mean? I mean, people think, oh, it's when people have PTSD and things like that, but it can be smaller things and little
yeah,
things that really can impact you, can't it? It's
yeah.
such a wide variety that it covers that people don't necessarily realize.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. And it can also, I mean, our bodies are incredible. So a lot of the time, our trauma is hidden as such and we don't realize it. Um, and then obviously through doing certain works, then it sort of comes out, and then obviously you have to sort of deal with that trauma as well. But yeah, like you said, it doesn't have to be sort of the big stuff as such, like you said, PTSD. It can be smaller things that will trigger us and create that trauma.
Yeah, absolutely. I know myself when I was doing my hypnotherapy training, um, I started it because of the place I was in, very similar to you. I
Mm.
was in a place where I was like, I needed to do something. And through learning through that, the teacher was telling me about how you have all these things happening to you in your 20s and sort of when you're younger, but it's when you start hitting in your 30s that that's
Yeah.
when it starts showing in you physically.
Mm.
You start with the illnesses and everything, and you sort of holding that trauma in your body, and unless you start doing something to release that, and I did notice a big difference from when I started before I, did any of the stuff and all the stuff I was holding in my body. And then it sort of went on and started working on myself and supporting my mental health. The massive change and difference that made. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's absolutely incredible and just so fascinating. Just yeah, obviously our body knows what's best, and it's about us, I think, getting curious and learning and knowing about what actually our body needs, because I think so many times we are taught, I believe, that we know we need to keep going, we need to press on, and
Yeah.
when we are pressing on and keep going and sort of rushing from one thing to the other, we're not, or we are forgetting to sort of think about what's going on for me right now. How am I feeling? And then that gets lost, and then of course we become dysregulated, and like you said, we can become poorly and all those sorts of things as well.
Absolutely. It's absolutely fascinating.
Mm.
So, what would you say is the most favourite part of your job then?
I just find it fascinating, just meeting people and just sort of hearing about their sort of story. And then, of course, I love just, well, I love it all, if I'm honest, but I just love, yeah, meeting an individual and then just being sort of welcome into their life as such, to be part of it, and then to sort of be on a journey with them, and to see the progress as we work together, and then obviously how they are at the end moving forward, knowing that they've got tools for life that they can use to help sort of regulate their nervous system. So yeah, I think it's quite a privilege, actually.
No, we're all about the wellbeing tools here. So, yeah, that's absolutely the best part. It's having that thing that you can take away that you know that if you can feel anything coming up, you've got something to go to. And
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
totally agree. It's one of my favourite parts of it. So, is there anything that people misunderstand about the work that you do?
I think sometimes people think, oh, it's, this isn't for me. This is for um, X, Y, and Z. Someone who I don't, I don't know. Someone who is feeling more dysregulated than me. So I feel that sometimes people feel that it's not um, right for them, or that
Mhm.
it's not for them. And the other thing is that I think some people feel that they don't have time already, so why should they make time for this? Whereas actually, when you do make time for this kind of work, then in the long run you are gaining back more time, if that makes sense. So
Absolutely.
yes, there's a little bit of an initial work that needs to be done, but it's so beneficial sacrificing the time to then gain time later on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, people feel so guilty for doing anything for themselves, and it's like, oh, I
Mm,
don't need to deal with that. But the difference it makes in your life is
yeah.
unbelievable. It really is. I mean, myself, this is my dream location where we've always wanted to move.
Mm,
And, I don't think I could have done it if I hadn't worked on myself previously because I'd have just
yeah.
stayed, oh, there'd have been an excuse not to do it, not to move, not to this, not to that. And then within a year, once I'd sort of dealt with quite a lot of stuff, we moved to our dream location. I started my own business and it just all fell into place. But I wouldn't have had the capacity for that if I hadn't have
Yeah.
worked on myself previously. So it's that thing, it's like, self-care is so important. And,
Yeah.
you know, you're absolutely right in terms of people need to do more of it and, just get out of that routine of, I'll put it off, I'll put it off, I'll put it off. It's like, no, do it now. It makes such a difference. Change now.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Just even in my own journey, I mean, God, even though I sort of did it backwards at the start, not realizing, I guess, but it was I'm so glad I did it. And I'm so glad that I've continued to do that, because, yeah, I just see the benefits. And yeah, I just want others to see it too, I think, and to, um, yeah, just to realize that importance, like you said, of self-care, and to know that that is needed, and that it's um needed for each of us, like that. It's not selfish, it's something that needs to be valued, and I think it needs to be put in every day. It's really, really important.
Absolutely. Totally agree. So, if there was someone that wanted to get into doing what you're doing, what advice would you give them to get started?
um Number one, I think just go for it. Like, if you feel that this is what you want to do, then I think um, don't hold back, go for it. But I also think that you need to just well, depending on what you're going to do, I think you just need to make sure that you have in place, i.e., your own sort of personal therapist, for example, just to make sure that whatever you are getting into, you have somewhere that you can just make sure that you're looking after yourself as well, if that makes sense, so that you're
Yeah,
being held during your journey too. I think that's really important.
Yeah, because so often with a lot of these alternative therapies and holistic modalities, you you bring in it and dealing with your own stuff as well as
Mm,
you're training to sort of work everything. You're sort of working through your own thing, so it can
yeah,
be a roller coaster of a journey, but it's so worth it at the end of it because you've got those skills, then you've got that tools like you were saying that you sort of know you can go to. But yeah, absolutely amazing. Every time I do something new, I feel like it's like an onion and I'm uncovering a new layer of something else to sort of deal with. It's just fascinating.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
So what makes you feel inspired and motivated?
Um, I think when I've worked with someone, just seeing the end result and that sort of, I don't know, you can sort of sometimes see it in their eyes, that like light bulb moment, like yes, and also that um seeing them feel empowered, like
Yes.
they sit up a little bit taller, they're sort of loving themselves a little bit more, and realizing the importance of putting themselves first and looking after their well-being. And yeah, I find that really inspiring, and that definitely motivates me. So whenever, say, I have a little bit of a tired moment in my business, shall we say, that's what I sort of always think, like, um, I think about, say, past clients and how they felt at the end of our time together, and knowing that they've got those tools for life, for example, and that sort of that motivation to keep going, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. I mean, just hearing from them when they're using words like empowered, I feel this, I feel that they've seen the light at the end of the tunnel. It's like,
Yeah,
yep, that's what I wanted. That's why it's all worth it. That
yeah.
one person, that one comment, yep.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's just incredible, isn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant. It's such an amazing feeling. And why we do what we do.
Yeah, yeah,
So, yeah.
definitely.
So we talked a little bit about well-being. So what would well-being mean to you?
So for me, a big one for yeah. So well-being for me is just putting ourselves first, just making that time, feeling grounded, feeling whole. That to me is like, yeah, well-being as a whole. For me personally, um, I like to just, a big thing for me is my quiet time. So I like to have quite a lot of time for myself. I journal quite a lot. And I need that bit of time for me to start my day. If I don't have that, then I feel a bit sort of, I don't know if this is the right word, but a bit sort of jagged. I don't feel quite there, I
Yeah,
guess. Um, but yeah, so I need that bit of time for me. And then another thing for me is just sort of getting outdoors as much as possible. And that helps me stay really, really sort of present, grounded, connected.
fantastic. So what do you have in your well-being toolkit that keeps that sort of stability and that calmness for you?
So yes, like I said, yes, definitely my quiet time. So that's definite. That has to happen every day. My children, bless them, they know can't disturb me until 7 a.m. That's my time. So,
Like it.
yeah. So I guess so. Part of that then is I have to. I'm quite disciplined in that area to make sure that I have it. A few other things might be quite controversial, but I've stopped watching the news because that's sort of helped me massively, and I have,
Yep.
yeah, and I haven't
Makes a
done that,
huge difference.
yeah, massively, and so I haven't watched the news now for quite a few years, I think. Um, but it's only been this year that I've sort of actually voiced it, because I felt like a bit awkward. But interestingly, when I have brought it up, more people have said, "Oh, yeah, actually, I've stopped." Or so that to me is a massive thing. And then I try. Well, yeah, another thing that I try really hard to do is no phones first hour in the morning at least,
Brilliant.
last hour at night at least, and then in the evening I read before I go to bed. So those are like my biggies, I guess. my toolkit. And then, yeah, like I said earlier, just being outside as much as possible. Just even if it's just literally standing outside the back door in the garden, just to sort of breathe in the fresh air, look at nature, you know, those sorts of things. But yeah, I try and get outside as much as possible. I'm not far from the sea, so I try and head towards the sea, have a good look, nice deep breath, and then I get fine.
Does wonders. That's one of
Yeah.
my favourite things to do as well. Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I'm exactly the same with the news. I haven't watched that in a very long time, and I think there's more and more people doing it now.
Yeah.
That's I think I did a wellbeing workshop the other day, and this was one of the topics that came up, and somebody actually said they actually go out of the way to subscribe to positive news things, so that like the social media feeds are now full of all this nice positive stuff instead of all the doom and gloom that we quite often get, which I thought was a fantastic idea. So she shared a couple of newspaper type online but happy ones
Oh,
that's focused on a more positive side. So that was great. I thought a fantastic idea.
yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, that's a really good idea, actually.
Yes, so hopefully there should be more people do it. So join us, everybody. You don't
Yeah.
need to watch the news. It's not, especially first thing in the mornings. Now you want to start.
Oh gosh, no, no. Yeah. Even interestingly, like this is going back years and years, but even you know, the sound, like the theme tune of the 10 o'clock news, like back in the day,
Yeah.
like I remember when I was a kid, it would just give me that like not very nice feeling. It probably was
Yes.
a little bit linked to the fact that I knew my parents would also say, right, it's bedtime, but it was still just that, oh, it just always
It's like, yeah.
jarred me. And yeah, I don't know, I just find that link, you know, and I don't know, I'm just done with it, if I'm honest.
Yep. No, I don't believe you at all. I'm right there with you. So is there any wellbeing resources that you can recommend for people then? Books, podcasts, that type of a thing? Anything that you think of that help people?
So yeah, so there's a couple of books that I've read that I've really liked. So one is called The Wisdom of Your Body. So that's by Hilary McBride. And I found that really interesting. So it sort of tells you, it's more about like what we carry in our body, but I think obviously
Yes.
that will link into why well-being is important, and that's the same really for the other two books. So one is The Body Keeps the Score, and then
Yes.
yeah, which is a brilliant book,
Got
and
that
then
one.
yeah, and then the other one is When the Body Says No, which again, yeah, very similar, but fascinating. And then another book which may sound a little bit random, but when my children were young and I was on the start of this journey, it really helped me, and it was called Simplicity Parenting. But what I loved about it is, so there was 10 different topics, but it was like in the title, it's basically just showing you how you can make your parenting more simple. But I feel that you can probably take that sort of outside of just parenting and just put it into life anyway. And that's also sort of helped me in my journey to just not reading, listening to the news, because that was one of the topics.
Ah,
So yeah,
fantastic.
so those are my my four.
Brilliant. Oh, fantastic. I will make sure I top the details of that on one of the slides at the end, everybody, so you can have a look. But yeah, The Body Keeps the Score is one that I've definitely heard of. It's on somewhere on one of my many bookshelves at the
Oh,
back.
yeah, brilliant.
Absolutely fascinating, all these type of things. And again, talking about how what goes on, the trauma affects your body.
Yeah,
So yeah, absolutely amazing, brilliant.
yeah.
So have you got any exciting new projects coming up that you can tell us about?
So the project that I'm doing at it's my program actually. So at the minute we're doing it's the Reset program. So it's 1-to-1, but it's for 3 weeks where we work intensely together in order to help you to regulate your nervous system, and I stay alongside you the whole journey, because I just think that 3 months is a good amount of time for you to be able to have the tools that you need. So we basically we start together. We discuss a bespoke program that will work for you, a bespoke sort of toolkit as such, and then we go through it together, and then at the end of the journey you'll have those tools for life. So yes, that's what I'm doing at the minute. So that's yeah, that's pretty new.
Fantastic. And where can people find information about that? Is that all on your socials or?
Yeah, so it's on my socials, and I've just done our website, so that's www.grounded-pathways.com.
Fantastic. And I will put a slide in the end with all your socials on, and I will add your website to that as well.
Oh, thank
And we
you.
can sort of pop that on so everybody can have a check that out and see all the amazing work that you're doing.
Oh,
So,
perfect. Thank
is there
you.
anything that we've not covered that you'd like to say, either around well-being, what it is that you specifically do, or maybe there's some other projects or other bits of work that you want to talk about? Over
Um,
to you.
I think we've covered it quite a lot, to be honest. But I don't know. I just think it's just incredible. Like what you're doing, I think is fantastic. Just being
Oh,
able to
thank you.
sort of put all this together, because I think, like what we were saying earlier, it's, it's so needed, and I think that sometimes, you know, we're not too sure where to go or what might work for us, or not really knowing what's out there. So I think this is fantastic to be able to sort of put sort of different ways in place where people can see, oh, actually I'd like to try this, or I may want to try X, Y and Z, and just to have sort of different ideas and different options to try out in order to help their well-being. So I think what you're doing is fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much. I just think it's all just so needed.
Mm,
Like trauma, there's so much that we hold in our bodies that
yeah,
affects us so much, and people don't always think about it. And if it isn't for having conversations like this and getting the word out there, people don't realize, oh, actually, that rings a bell with me. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I'm like that. I didn't realize that was trauma. It's all these different things. And I think just getting the information out there, you guys listening and sharing all of this stuff with everybody, makes a big difference. And getting experts on like yourself to come on and have a good chat about everything that it is, about what you're doing, about what you do personally as well, that can make a big difference.
yeah.
So yeah, so I'm really pleased and ever so grateful for you coming on and having a chat with me. As I say, we'll make sure we got all your socials on the end of it, so people please reach out, have a chat. She's lovely. Go talk to her. She's full of information. Go say hi. um so yeah, that would be fantastic. I will get everything out and we will share it all. And yeah, you guys do your jobs and share everything like you normally do. That would be fantastic. And go and leave some love on Chantal's page, please. That would be brilliant.
Oh, thank you. Thank
So
you very much
it's
for having
lovely,
me.
lovely meeting you. Thank you ever so much. And yeah, we'll see you soon.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Bye everyone.